On May 12, 2017, something happened that nobody saw coming. Not a hack, not a data breach, something worse. In the span of 24 hours, a single piece of malware infected 230,000 computers across 150 countries. Hospitals couldn't access patient records. FedEx couldn't ship packages. Honda and Nissan's production lines stopped dead. And here's the thing. It all could have been prevented with a software update nobody bothered to install. This is the story of WannaCry, and how a researcher accidentally stopped it for $10.69. Understand WannaCry, you need to understand where it came from. In 2013, the NSA, the National Security Agency, discovered a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows. They called it EternalBlue. It was a backdoor into millions of computers worldwide, so naturally, they kept it secret and weaponized it. Except in 2016, someone broke into the NSA. A group called the Shadow Brokers stole a treasure trove of NSA hacking tools, including EternalBlue. In April 2017, the Shadow Brokers did something wild. They leaked EternalBlue online, publicly, for anyone to download. Here's the problem. Microsoft knew about this vulnerability. They'd actually already released a patch, a software update that would fix it, back in March, 1 month before it was leaked. But here's where it gets bad. Nobody installed it. Thousands of organizations kept running outdated Windows systems. Some hospitals were still using Windows XP, an operating system that came out in 2001. 16-year-old machines. Microsoft had already stopped supporting them. The IT teams at these hospitals, these companies, these airports, they all had the same excuse. We can't afford downtime. We can't risk an update breaking something. We don't have the staff. So they didn't patch. And they waited. May 12, 2017. Early morning in Europe. A nurse in a UK hospital tries to log into the patient record system. Nothing. Black screen. Then a message appears. Your files have been encrypted. By noon, the same message was on screens across Europe. By evening, it was everywhere. WannaCry demanded $300 per computer, in Bitcoin. Pay up in 3 days, or the price doubles. Don't pay within a week, and your data is gone forever. But WannaCry wasn't spread by phishing emails or social engineering. It didn't need you to click a malicious link. It was a worm. It hunted for unpatched computers and infected them automatically, moving from machine to machine across entire networks, like a virus spreading through a crowd. It was the first ransomware attack of its scale. Experts were calling it the atom bomb of ransomware. And in 24 hours, 230,000 machines were down. The damage estimates ranged from hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. The hospitals were hit hardest. Over 60 NHS trusts across the UK were infected. This wasn't a minor inconvenience. Doctors couldn't access patient records. Surgery was cancelled. Ambulances were diverted to different hospitals because staff couldn't find beds. People who needed urgent care had nowhere to go. One security expert pointed out that the NHS had been hit by ransomware 88 times in the previous 2 years. 88 times. But they still weren't investing in cybersecurity. Why? Money. Some NHS trusts spent nothing on securing their computer systems. Others spent what one expert called a paltry amount. They were running networks on a shoestring budget, keeping ancient machines online because the cost of replacing them seemed impossible. The WannaCry attack exposed every single one of those shortcuts. For days, entire hospitals were operating on paper. X-rays couldn't be retrieved. Lab results couldn't be accessed. Medical staff went back to pen and paper for the first time in decades. It was a disaster waiting to happen. And it happened. But here's where the story takes a turn nobody expected. A malware researcher named Marcus Hutchins started reverse engineering WannaCry's code while it was still spreading. Most code is designed by criminals trying to cover their tracks. But WannaCry's creators made a mistake. Inside the malware, Hutchins found an unusual function. Before WannaCry would activate and start encrypting files, it checked something. It queried a specific domain name. IUQERFSODP9, IFJAPOSDFJHGOSUR, IJFAEWRWERGWEA.com. That's not a normal domain. It's gibberish, and it didn't exist. Hutchins realized what happened. The malware creators had built in what they thought was a safeguard, a check to see if the malware was running inside a sandbox, a virtual testing environment used by security researchers. If the malware detected it was in a sandbox, it wouldn't execute. But they forgot to register the domain themselves. So Hutchins did something bold. He registered the domain for $10.69. Once the domain existed and started responding to queries, something happened. The malware checked for the domain, got a response, and assumed it was in a sandbox. So it stopped executing. Copies of WannaCry continued to spread across networks, but they no longer activated. The encryption stopped. The ransom demands stopped. The attack, for all intents and purposes, was over. In less than a day, a 23-year-old researcher had stopped a global attack with a $10.69 domain purchase and a bit of reverse engineering. The US and UK formally blamed North Korea in December 2017. North Korea denied it, but most security experts agree. WannaCry variants still exist. Newer ones removed the kill switch, and organizations continue to get hit by ransomware because they continue to skip updates. The lesson? It's not complicated. Patch your systems. Back up your data. Invest in cybersecurity before a crisis forces your hand. But as long as there are hospitals running 16-year-old computers and companies deciding that downtime costs more than a breach, there will be another WannaCry waiting to happen. This is the paper trail.